Hi, I'm Trent Clark, and welcome to Ask Me Anything with Coach Trent. I am the CEO of Leadershipity. I am a serial entrepreneur, having started over 12 companies. I am an international speaker and speak all over the world on leadership, mentorship, high-performing teams, and high performance. And most people know me because I coached in professional baseball for over 12 years and coached in 3 World Series. And so today I have 3 great questions. I'm excited about the new year. And my first question is, of course, exactly what I thought it would be. I have 2 resolutions, Trent, I really want to accomplish. What is my view on resolutions? And I will tell you, folks, I am not a fan. I don't like resolutions. What I want is I want people to dig deeper. I think resolutions are good. I think they have value, and I believe in cause and effect. So I believe that stop, start, continue. So if your resolutions are about, hey, I am going to stop smoking. This is what I want to do. Like that's going to improve your health. That is a great resolution. I am all for that. But I also want something deeper to that. I believe in the future reality. I know what the current reality is. And the current reality, let's say in this person, is that they don't feel healthy. They don't feel like, I don't like running around with my kids because I get winded. I've been smoking too much. My lungs are kind of retracted. I feel like I have less oxygen and less ability to run around. It's affecting me. All of a sudden, I've gained 15 or 20 pounds because I'm not doing it. So there's all this cause and effect that's going on. And they're like, and they're recognizing, if I stop smoking, I would want that. Great. Awesome. That's great. Now, what I really want is I really want to get tight on what's that future reality you really want. Like I want to be out with the kids every day. I want to spend 30 minutes outside with my kids every day playing basketball, hitting the tennis balls around. Like whatever you want to do with the kids, like great. Go do it. Like whatever this future reality looks like, we want to get there. And some of these things, hey, we're going to have to change things in our life to make that a reality. Because the current reality says, I can't even do that. I can't go out every day and play 30 minutes like that. I can't health-wise, physically, I'm not ready. I may get hurt. There's all sorts of cause and effect that they're considering in that. So I really honor and respect that. So do I think a resolution to stop smoking is a bad one? Not at all. But what I do believe is that we're going to need some lifestyle changes. We're going to need some discipline around how we are going to do it and get very focused on why we're going to do it. Why is this so important? And when we have a vision around what we want in that future reality, and this is what America's made of, right? We get a vision of a future reality, and then we go get it. Henry Ford was the best, right? He's got a future reality of everyone owning a car. At the time, only the ultra rich can own a car, and the infrastructure of the roads is awful. And the only way it's going to change actually is that someone figures out how to mass produce a car or just produce a cheaper car that can actually work. Well, so a lot of people take a chance at trying to produce a cheap car, but they find out they could do it, but it's a lot of work to take all the efficiencies out, and they can't do it very efficiently. So then all of a sudden the margins of the profitability are lost. So he figures out this mass production system on how he can do this and do this really well in order to produce many cars and make it a capital gain and work. So that becomes so important in what we're going for. So as I look at that future reality, Ford had a good vision of what he wanted in that future reality. And what he did is he had to find a way to create it. So I know what the current reality is, but I want the future reality. Whatever that gap is, that's what winners do. Winners find a way to win. I want to win that future reality in my life. And that's what I'm going for. So if that's what you're going for today, set that vision in motion. Get very clear on what the goals are that we're going to take you that future reality. Get very clear on what those measures are so you know when you've actually arrived at your future reality. I know a lot of people go hey, I'm working really hard. It's awesome. Awesome that they're working hard. The discipline's there, effort's there. Awesome. Beautiful. But how will you know when the future reality is right? Oh, I'll have the house of my dreams. I'll be married to the woman I dreamt of my whole life. I will like, great, whatever that measurement of your future reality, what you're really going for, there are measurements there. There are KPIs that you can dive into. And so we got to start moving the needle, and that is what's going to close that gap from the current reality to the future reality. So I love those things. I love people focused on that. And if a resolution is part of that, I'm okay with that too. A resolution on its own, I don't think has a lot of teeth. I don't think it has a lot of strength. So, and it's probably why most people have burnout on resolutions. So, if you're looking for something to test yourself, try a program. There are programs out there for 60-day workouts, like change your body. Like go do something around that. Hey, I want to change my current reality to something different in the future. And here's a day-to-day stepped program. I mean, it's what P90X was so famous for. Like, hey, in 90 days you could be this. 75 Hard, currently by Andy Frisell, is a good program. I mean, these things are test your merit. It'll test your will, and it's going to test your discipline. It's going to get you to practice and flex those muscles. And those are going to be huge things to take you to your future reality. All right, step 2, my second question is, I have been searching for a mentor. I listened to your podcast about how to find a mentor, and I did it. I'm super excited. I can't wait. This is going to be the best 2022. It's going to be great. It's going to be an incredible year. Awesome. Question is, how do I be a good mentee? Okay, I've got this mentor in person. This person's a high flyer, 1%er, have done all these things. They've accomplished what this person wants to accomplish. So they've already done it. And they've done it not just once, but multiple times. So they have a lot of experience around what they did right, what they did wrong. If they had to do it over again, what would they do differently? They've got all sorts of experience share to give this mentee. That's so great. That's awesome. So found the right person. Step 1, that is brilliant in being a great mentee. You have found the right mentor. Good start. Now, what does that mentor expect from you? This is typically a volunteer kind of give back, because somebody gave back probably in their life. So how do I maximize? First of all, this is probably a very influential person. So honoring this relationship and building this relationship is probably the number one role of this mentee. First of all, honor them by listening, by coming prepared. That's going to be clear. Drive this relationship. They are volunteering their time. And I'm going to borrow from the Entrepreneur Organization that talks a lot about this. And they have great training around mentor and mentees and how to do that really well. And their 4 key categories are: drive the relationship. The mentee is in the driver's seat. Like, mentor is a volunteer. They're just giving their time. Like, the mentor is not calling you to schedule a meetup. The mentee has got to drive this thing, get it going. This is what I'm really desiring. This is what I could use from you. A lot of focus, a lot of clarity, a lot of communication. It's a great start. Drive it. 2, there's a lot of scarcity in this relationship. 1% people, if you didn't listen to the Winners Find a Way show today, we talked about that at 12:30 Eastern today, and you look it up on our Leadershipity YouTube channel. We talked about they have routines, and they are pretty structured, and they don't have a lot of wiggle room for, oh, hey, I just got to go do this now. And you can call me anytime you want. Like, you have scarcity in this relationship. They are busy. They accomplish a lot of things. They have a lot of responsibility in their lives. So they are happy to help you, but you've got to do the work. They are not going to do it for you. And so the scarcity in this relationship is huge. So when you think of like formal mentoring programs, they often involve a meetup of once a month of 60 to 90 minutes in a session. And when you think about that, that's 12 to 18 hours a year. Most people work 40 or 50 hours a week. So you're going to have this relationship, and you're only going to get this one-on-one time, all to benefit you, right? And you're going to get less than half your work week and maybe a quarter of your work week. So this is scarcity at its finest. How do I maximize and honor this relationship really well? So That's going to be a really critical component. Third is like the entrepreneur organizations, you should have a focus, a North Star, a goal. What do I want to accomplish? What is my future reality? In 1 year from now, my reality looks different because I have more employees to help me grow this company. I have a relationship that I've wanted to be in my whole life. I've got my dream home, or I've got it financed, or I'm on my way to getting this thing, or I've moved to a location I really have always wanted to live. Like whatever this goal, whatever this future reality is for you, clarity around that. And this person's going to help you because your future reality is something that they didn't have in their lives. They had a current reality and they said, oh, I want to build this marketing firm up. Just like you want to build your marketing firm up. I want to win a world championship. Oh, I wanted to do that too. So I came in with this organization and a current reality, we weren't very good. But then 4 years later, we were world champions, right? And so we had those things in a lot, in our lives. And so this person has done it. So your goal and your focus should probably be around that. And so we choose wisely on who that person is. And then lastly is full engagement. We have to be so centered in our time and present. That's our gift, right? To be present is the gift. So how do we do that really well inside this relationship? Well, it's back to confidence, right? It's back to prep and reps. Like get that in, show them that you're listening, come with your successes over the last time since you've seen them last, what you've accomplished, how you've contributed to your goal. Have those things laid out and have it organized into a structure of easy clarity. And it doesn't have to be a 5-page report. You can do this on 1 or 2 sheets of paper and have some items that you do and meet. And what we're going to talk about in this mentee session, here's last month. Here's January's 1-pager or 2-pager. Here's February's 1 or 2-pager meeting with the key things that have happened, what we've accomplished, how I've contributed, what percentage of my way I'm at on the way to the goal, all these things, where my challenges have been. Because I'm often amazed by my challenges last week. I barely remember them. They were so important 7 days ago, and they got completed. And now I have new challenges, right? There's other things, and I've got to move on to those. But I could be stressed over that. I could be losing sleep. I could be not behaving well because of that. Or it could be an awesome event and something that was a challenge that we overcame and just we should be celebrating. But we're on to new challenges all the time. So making a log of that is good to go back to about where you've been and where you want to go. So that'll be pretty important. So that to me is how you become a good mentee from the X's and O's. Now, the other side of this is let's talk about what we need from you. What I want on my teams and what your mentor wants is they want an ace, a card. If we're playing a card game, I want all the aces, right? So a card is an acronym for coachability. Are you ready to be coached? Because this is what you signed on for the mentorship. You want these experience shares. You want all this information. You're going to download that. You're going to be a student. And coachability and your ability to learn is going to be huge in this, right? So that's 1. Coachability. 2, adaptability. What you think are going to work, your mentor, she may say, like, that's not working. This is not the way I would do it. And I tried that. Let me tell you, this is the road. This was my experience, what I find. And that's why I did it this way. If I had to do it again, I would do it this way. I don't recommend you do it that way. So now all of a sudden, oh, you don't recommend I do it that way. I have to have some adaptability to do it a different way. So that's going to be huge. And then responsibility. You've given me 4 things to work on. And now I'm going to go back until the next time I see you and work on those things, accomplish those things, move that needle up on my current reality, from my current reality to my future. I keep moving up. I keep moving. And I take responsibility for what I've been asked to do because it is going to help me get to my future reality. And then so the last is dependability. And once my mentor has seen that I'm a dependable person, I manage my responsibilities very well. I do it time and time again. Each and every month, I have listen to what my things and what I have to do. What are my priorities for the next 30 days to keep moving this thing from my current reality to my future reality? Like, and I am focused on that and get that done. And I've done that January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Like, there's no doubt that your mentor is expecting that you're going to do it again in September, right? The dependability is high. This has been done every time. Why wouldn't they keep moving this? And if it's not, it's likely because something interfered, something got in the way, something changed massively. So, hey, that may happen, but your dependability is not going to be like, oh, well, I just didn't do anything. I just didn't listen to anything you said. I just stopped working on it because I had some other things that I just wanted to do. That is not the mentoring role. It's not honoring the role. So, and the relationship. And so many mentors have become huge advocates for their mentees. They become business partners. They become investors in their businesses, all sorts of great things. Now, let's talk about what we do know about powerful people who accomplish a lot of things, who have a lot of juice in the world, and people respect and honor them. If you wreck this relationship, you no longer have that highly respected person's endorsement. They are no longer an advocate for you. And that may be really detrimental, because the last thing you get in this relationship and you don't manage this, you don't honor the relationship, you don't drive it, you don't come ready, prepared, you don't respect the scarcity, you're not willing to do the work, and you're not really fully engaged. You're kind of half there and mentally checked out when you go to your meetings, or you're missing meetings and wasting people's time and skipping. And now all of a sudden you have an influencer out in the world who now says, oh, I've seen you with this person. Hey, we're thinking about doing business. Would you do that? And you go, ooh, yeah, I don't know. This person did call me and I started working with them, but I don't know if I would trust them to do your work for you. I don't know if they're ready and prepared to do that. So that is not what you're going for in a mentor and mentee relationship. This is one-on-one to help you get better, and that's going to be so important. So that's my answer for being a good mentee and driving the relationship and being ready to be a card, be that ace that they like and deserve, and then of course, get to it. No one else is going to do the work for you. You're going to have to own it. So the ownership is in the mentee of that whole relationship. All right. Lastly, this one's on sports, which I love. Thanks for listening. I love to talk sports. And so if you don't like to talk sports or organizations, you may not love this part, but as organizations come in, you'll find out that there's a lot of correlation from sports to teams inside your organization, regardless of what you're doing, whether you're teachers and you're all doing this together, it's teams. And the question is about, are sports skills getting better? And are these athletes actually better than they were before? I'm so, after watching football over the holiday, seeing the bowl games and seeing some real physical athletes that probably haven't been seen before. And some of that gets proven out, like track and field is a great example of, have athletes changed? Are the numbers changing? Or is like everyone blowing the doors off the 100-meter race every year? I would say that's not happening on this ultra level of like just daily new records broken, right? I do think athletes are much better trained and prepared now. I mean, I think a lot of through the open of the internet and information and people that are teachers and coaches, and we've learned to teach and coach better. I think people are getting better information earlier. I think they're preparing better. And now we got preps and reps, right? And so when we talk about that confidence game of like a 12-year-old Olympic gymnast or a 13-year-old, right? We see these young girls and they're fabulous. They're just incredible athletes. But we know the 10,000 hours to be an expert. And so they've had all this great training. They got into training of the best in the world and got put into programs very little, which actually hyper learns and moves that process along quicker. So all of a sudden, um, a young person who's going through all the skills learning, they're the sponge category, which is very unique because adults are not placid like that to learn so quickly. They're in this very early learning environment, and so they're ready for that. They move quickly. They can emulate and model skills better at that age because they haven't learned bad habits, so they're learning only the good ones. So it moves very quickly. So all of a sudden, instead of 10,000 hours through this expert coaching and guidance, and because the learning environment of the brain, the physical skills and our motor skills, all of a sudden that can get moved down to like 7 or 8,000 hours. Like, make no doubt, there's no 13-year-olds in the Olympics that just started doing this when they were 10. Like they didn't get there and go, oh well, I'm gonna spend 1,000 hours this year practicing and 1,000 hours next year, and then I'll be in the Olympics. Like, no, they're not. Like, that's not happening. They've been at it for 6 to 8 years already, and so if they've got 1,000 hours a year into that, they can easily make that mark in those 6 or 7 years. So think about how they're going to do that and how that actually happens. But the one thing I will say, I see a ton of skilled athletes that I just don't recall across the board being so many. So I think with the greater influx of knowledge and audit of excellence, right? I mean, I've done that my whole life. I talk about it on other shows, podcasts, the audit of excellence. I spent my high school went to 3 state championships, sophomore, junior, senior year, and then I went to the national championships my freshman and sophomore year. And so in 5 straight years, I'm playing in these national championship, big game kind of things, big matches. And so when there's a bunch of stress and things on the line, you're constantly auditing excellence. Like, what do we do to get better? What can I do to improve? What are my chances to win this game if I do these things? Like, it's cause and effect and preparation. So you're going through this audit of excellence all the time. So now what's happened is this audit of excellence has just gone from out here to a very narrow audit of excellence. And so people know that, like, hey, if I'm going to go move in this direction, I've got to do all these things inside this silo. And so there's efficiency on how I set that up, how I do it better, what kind of coach I would need, where can I find an experienced coach or mentor to move me through, and all these things. So those become absolutely critical. So because that knowledge is more vast and shared, you get this larger umbrella of top tier talent. So the talent is still there. I don't know at the end if the skill sets are so much better than people 20 years ago. I do think there's more people at a higher skill than there used to be 20 years ago. And, I think it's really evident across like pro tennis, and where you see these big discrepancies where there's a few, and then there's massive drop off. And so we see that in even high school organizations, right? There's just a lot more competition at the level at these high schools and colleges, and even the NFL. You just don't. It's hard to find teams now that are going to win 13, 14 times a year, and so we used to see that teams that would dominate and separate themselves, and still happens, but. It just seems like, we go back to the movie, Any Given Sunday. Now you've got all these teams, and they know all the things about each other, and they know how to get them better, and they know how to select the best athletes, and they know how to select the best coaching, and they're all competing, and the difference is just fractional. So that all of a sudden on any given Sunday, a team with a couple of injuries could be very average, and a team that's doing everything right, that maybe not have the top players, but have practiced well and plays well as a team, can really go out there and beat other teams that are more talented. So there's just a lot more equalization across that, right? So I do think though that because of the huge uptick in skill, as far as being fast, I think like we've missed something along the way. I think like the individuals are getting a lot of practice and work at that. It feels like the fundamental stuff of strategy and skill sets to adaptability inside that strategy, I think that's lowered. I feel like that's not at the same level that it used to be. I think we've lost some of that. And, I think we could blame that on some of the youth programs that are so wins, losses, very focused on games and not practice and development. So it's just changed, I think, the way things are doing. Individually, there's a lot of development, but as teams and strategy, we do so well at developing physical characteristics, our muscles, our structure, our nutrition, things we can really adapt and change. We can even do pretty good at video and hyper learning because there's so many tools to do some of that learning now. Um, and I think we're pretty good at developing individual skills. But just feel like the strategic fundamentals of what's required in the game and why we're doing what we're doing. Maybe some of that cognitive is kind of one of those lanes of balance, right? When we talk about the swim lanes of balancing the pool, we've got all these things that are involved, from nutrition to physical preparedness to mental preparedness to skill sets that we need for the game to strategic and strategy to all these different sets that are going to be required. And so I feel like there's a couple lanes that are getting not getting enough attention, and that's probably that focus on developing our strategy, developing on why we do what we do, why it's important to the team, why are these things going to be helpful and aid us. So some of those small things, and I think they're really important, and I think they're getting swept under the rug and not utilized in the same way anymore. So, well, great question. Are sports skills getting better? I'm going to say yes across the board. I think the volume is getting better at the higher level. There's much more people with skills. I think there's an argument to be made that our athletes so much more skilled today than they were 20 years ago. I think there's an argument, but I do think some of the game has changed and the speed has changed. I think there's a lot more players at that top level than there used to be. And I think that's probably where some of the segregation is. Just an opinion. So, hey, you ask me anything, I'll give you an answer. So, thank you for joining me, Trent Clark, on Ask Me Anything with Coach Trent. Always thrilled to have you. Again, if you have a question and you'd like to submit that in the future, please send me an email, Trent@Leadershipity, with the subject line Ask Me Anything. And in the body of your email, please put a question. We select 3 a week, and I'd love to have yours on our show. So thank you again. Have a fabulous weekend and go out